Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I recently revealed on my channel a huge secret, and that is that I used to work for Louis Vuitton for many years. It was at several different locations across 3 different states. During my employment with Louis Vuitton, I moved to a state that did not have a Louis Vuitton boutique, and I actually helped to open up the boutique from the ground up. I trained new employees. I was at the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. I offered this background information about me because I was reviewing a book called A Beginner's Guide to Louis Vuitton, and I wanted to establish my kind of expertise and familiarity with Louis Vuitton, with the brand, in my review of the book to point out the accuracies and inaccuracies of the book. As I film this, that video is only maybe 2 or 3 weeks old, but it's officially one of my most viewed videos and my most commented on. It's also simultaneously my most liked and most disliked video. Most of the comments consisted of questions about my Louis Vuitton employment. So I posted a poll in my YouTube community page tab, and I asked you guys what you wanted to hear about my former employment with Louis Vuitton. And the answers varied from, the hiring process and the interview process, the training that was provided, other questions like the employee discount, and just anything. People just wanted to hear all about it. As much as I'm permitted to answer, I do plan on responding to everything that you want to hear about. There were a lot, so I plan on breaking this up into different videos based on topics. And to make it clear, I do not work for LVMH. I thought I made it pretty clear in the video. However, there was one person asking if I currently work for LVMH, if I'm sponsored by LVMH, what do I do? Why did I leave? And so that I'll answer real quick. I do not work for LVMH anymore. They definitely are not sponsoring me. Again, I worked for them for many years. This was in the early 2000s, and I left on my own. I went to law school, and I work in an industry now that is completely unrelated to fashion, unrelated to retail, and definitely unrelated to LVMH. So my Instagram page and my YouTube channel focuses a lot on, luxury bags, fashion, style, lifestyle, beauty, makeup, skincare. Those are all just hobbies because I do have a full-time job totally unrelated to any of the stuff that I talk about on my channel, although I did mention it briefly in my Luxe Law series. So I posted that poll on my YouTube community page. I also posted an Instagram story. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I definitely recommend you follow me on there. I'm a lot more active on there. I post in my stories pretty frequently. If I ever find something, especially something that I think is like a great deal. I love saving money. I love saving you money. I will post it in my stories and with a swipe up link so you can grab it before it sells out. So definitely follow me on there if you don't already. It's at A Heated Mess. The answers were mixed about what you wanted to hear. There were a lot of questions about just every topic. And I plan to address all those in subsequent videos. However, the number one answer that the majority of people wanted to hear about were customer shenanigans. And that is probably my favorite topic and probably one of the most fun aspects of working in retail, and specifically luxury retail. Now, if you have worked in retail or in customer service in general, you are probably very familiar with the nuances, the ups and downs, and the highs and lows of working in retail and customer service. Now, luxury retail is its own beast. When I worked for LVMH, it was a lot of fun. I worked with a lot of great people, a lot of people that I'm still in touch with, but there were some days, especially around the holidays, where it was rough. It was long, it was hard, it was frustrating, it was stressful. It just felt like sometimes these customers really beat you down. I say this as a former LVMH employee and now a current LVMH enthusiast and customer. I really feel for them. So there were, of course, many customers who were just the sweetest. They would bring, treats and gifts and thank you notes and thank you cards. And then there were some that were very entitled and just downright rude. I don't know if they expected us to maybe just cater to their every whim and fancy. And I remember coming home from work sometimes with these stories, and my husband, he was my then fiance at the time, he was like, you should write a book about this. And it's funny because when I think back, because back then YouTube wasn't really a thing, but you know, blogs were a thing. So I do plan on sharing some stories. Obviously I won't name names, but I will share one quick story. This was the first location where I worked. Again, I mentioned that I worked at several different locations. The store where I first started at the time was one of the largest boutiques in the country, and at least in that region where I worked. This couple came in and they pulled out of their car a huge shopping bag, and it was not a Louis Vuitton shopping bag. So immediately we were like, okay, it's gonna be a repair. And it was a repair. So they come in and they approached me. I was standing at the closest counter to the door. They come up to me. The girlfriend asked, do you guys repair bags? Generally, you know, our response is, yes, we do offer repair services. It depends on the repair. It depends on the condition of the bag. So she says, well, my boyfriend and I were at a party last night and he got really drunk and he threw up all over the inside of my bag. And as she's saying this, she's pulling her Louis Vuitton bag out of this larger shopping bag. And I have a visual for you because I have that exact style. It was the Cabas Mezzo. Now, when I worked for Louis Vuitton, it was before the Neverfull existed. The Neverfull did not come out until the kind of mid to later 2000s. Up until then, probably one of the most popular totes was the Cabas series. There is the Cabas Piano, and then the Cabas Mezzo, and the Cabas Alto, which is the biggest one. This is the Cabas Mezzo. I featured this several times on my channel. This was my most used Louis Vuitton bag for the longest time, and it still is. It's a little dated. The inside of the bag, it has a cell phone pocket, but this was when, you know, cell phones were those razor phones, really tiny razor phones. So the cell phone pocket does not accommodate the larger smartphones of today. But anyway, so she was saying that they were on their way home from a party, and the boyfriend was so drunk that he threw up. But he didn't want to throw up in the interior of his easily washable floor of his car. No, what he did was he grabbed her open purse, opened it up, and threw up inside the bag. For reference, this is my Cabas Mezzo tote bag. So you can see it has that lining inside. It has a zip pocket, and there's that cell phone pocket I mentioned. So there's the lining. Louis Vuitton repairs do vary, but for some items, they do replace the lining of a bag. As she's relaying this story of her boyfriend throwing up in her bag, she's pulling it out and she's saying, yeah, he threw up inside the bag and I did as much as I could to scrape it out. And so she starts showing it to me. I said, no, please don't show this to me. In my head, I was like, I don't get paid enough to deal with this vomit bag. I think I was just a few months into the job. And so, you know, I'm in my early, I think I was 19 or 20 at the time. And so I just was like, nope, hold on a second. Let me get my manager. Because I did not know how to deal with that. You know, when it comes to repairs, obviously I can look at the repair. I'm trained to look at the repair and assess it and, you know, give an estimate of the cost and to do the intake. However, when it comes to bodily fluids and contagions and unknown foreign liquids from a person, I was like, no, let me get the leather goods manager for you. So I went straight back and I said, manager, please deal with this vomit bag. I just can't do it. And so I went far away. The boutique I worked at was fairly large. It had women's shoes, it had men's shoes, it had jewelry, it had men's and women's ready to wear. So it was really big. I went as far away as I could. So my poor manager went to the couple. All the other employees went to the opposite corner of the store because at that point, once she opened the bag, it smelled, oh my gosh, it smelled so bad. I have 3 boys. I have 2 kids in diapers, and maybe I have a stronger stomach now. But when you're 19, 20, I don't want to deal with that at work. I'm not paid to deal with that. I just vividly remember standing there with my coworkers and just in shock and, trying to have a pleasant disposition, but watching the manager deal with this repair. And it was so funny because I remembered this so at that point we're standing really far. I saw the girl open up the bag and my manager kind of looked inside the bag and she was like, no. She just shook her head and backed away. And ultimately, she just refused. Repairs are at the discretion of the manager and the specific boutique based on the condition of the bag and the repair needed and just the health hazards involved. The manager decided she is not taking that bag in and sending it to the repair facility to replace the lining. And so it turned out to be a happy story for the girlfriend because the boyfriend ended up buying her a brand new bag, and he bought her a brand new Cabismezzo tote. So she walked away with a vomit bag and a brand new Louis Vuitton. So yeah, that was probably the most disgusting Louis Vuitton repair story. So I hope you enjoyed that quick customer shenanigans story. Comment below what you want to hear about my former employment with Louis Vuitton. I do have many other stories and many other customer shenanigans that I would love to share with you. But that is the story of the Louis Vuitton vomit bag. If you used to work in retail, let me know what were your grossest customer stories. Or I do have some kind of rude customer stories, but the gross customer stories, they're just so fun because sometimes they really are innocent. That poor guy, he could really tell that he just felt so bad about what happened, and you know, they tried to salvage it. Unfortunately, it was not salvageable, at least not by Louis Vuitton. They certainly could have continued to try to fix it themselves or maybe take it to a cobbler or something. But in the end, she got a new bag and I got a funny story. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.